When you open the door to the unknown, there's no telling who will drop in or who will drop dead. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
I don't understand Pray for Survival Till Dawn. What did that has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, a lot of the times they don't.
I like how, of the 45 taglines this movie has, a lot of them are just two different ones they use jammed together.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 52 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
I'm Katie.
And this week we watched Witchboard from 1986, which I'm pretty sure is not a real word.
It could be. You don't know.
I don't know why this movie wasn't just called Ouija. Because Witchboard is real dumb.
I mean, I've definitely heard it refer to that before, but in the context of this movie, there's no reason.
You're off the podcast.
I feel like it's a way cooler name.
I mean, it is.
I want to watch Witchboard. I do not want to watch Ouija.
Okay, well, spoiler alert, I also don't want to watch Witchboard.
Yeah. Well, guess what? There are 2 sequels to this movie, so
I know.
Guess what is coming your way in the future.
The third one, the poster looks so ridiculous, I kind of want to watch it. Witchboard 3, The Possession.
I just like that the director directed 1 and 3, but not 2.
Why is number 3 The Possession? There's a possession in number 1.
Probably in number 2 also. The only thing that makes me want to watch the second one is that the main character, the guy who plays Jim, plays a garbage man in the second one, which I think is kind of hilarious.
Fuck.
I just hope, I want one of them to be a prequel movie just about David's life before dying and becoming a weird ghost creature thing. I want to know how he died and fell into that water.
Yeah, I think... This movie,
My exact thoughts on this movie.
It was a little bit boring. By no means do I think it was super terrible, but it didn't go the way that I thought it was gonna go. Not really in a good way, but I looked this movie up on Wikipedia, and there's so much information on it. You would think it was actually a good movie. It was went into the director's life about how he wrote the script when he was a student, and he talked to all his friends about different things that happened when they played with the Ouija board and this, that, and the other thing, and I was okay, calm down.
That's not surprising. I'll look up movies on Wikipedia sometimes that'll have some pretty popular movie that'll just have this movie was made here's the plot, and that's it. And then I'll look up some movie that never I don't think anyone's ever heard of before, and there'll be 8 pages worth of fucking background on it.
Well,
That
it's
one
probably
really dedicated person.
it's probably the director.
Yeah. It's the same person that's going through fucking IMDb and putting every car model in the movies he watches.
No, that
So,
one's the
hero.
true hero here. Yeah. Well, I've not seen Night of the Demons, but it's the same director. And I almost watched it, but I didn't. It looks kind of ridiculous, but apparently he also directed a remake of Night of the Demons that came out in 2009, which I feel like I never
shit.
heard of.
So
Yeah.
hold off on Night of the Demons, because Night of the Demons rules, and we will do that for an episode.
Okay.
Can we also do the remake of Night of the Demons that has Edward Furlong?
I think we
am
have to.
down with doing a double episode or whatever of both. I don't think I've ever seen the remake, but now that I know Edward Furlong's in it, I am absolutely down. We'll just do that and then the fucking Crow movie he made.
Which one did he do?
I don't know. Any of them that isn't one is terrible, so it doesn't matter.
But Was it the fourth one that has Dennis Hopper?
I don't remember. I know Edward Furlong's one is whatever one has Tara Reid in it.
Oh.
I think.
I think the fourth one's the only one I haven't seen, maybe.
Have you seen the TV show?
No.
Yeah, they did a TV show
Oh.
at one point.
Yeah, the Edward Furlong Tara Reid one is the same one that has Dennis Hopper as El Nino.
What a perfect name.
We could just do one episode of all the Crow stuff.
Just Crow, like 2 through 4.
I think we might need like a double episode just for this one because it's also got Danny Trejo
I mean,
my gosh.
so there's at least one
And-
good thing in it.
and UFC fighter Tito Ortiz.
Let me guess. Does Danny Trejo play a mobster? Or a gang
He
member?
plays Harold.
Harold.
I'm not gonna lie, I really liked Salvation that has I think it's Kirsten Dunst who I don't like, but I liked that one.
Is that the third one?
I think so.
I remember seeing 2 in the theater, and I don't hate 2, but it's definitely like none of them can like hold up to that first one, like at all.
No.
Why are we talking about The Crow?
I don't know.
How do we get?
Because we don't want to talk about Witchboard, that's why.
One last aside.
Okay.
Katie, why didn't you tell me that the director also directed Pinocchio's Revenge?
I was gonna
man.
bring that up actually. I laughed really hard.
I saw that and I was like, mental note if that movie ever comes up on something streaming.
That movie rules.
I mean, there's no way it doesn't. I'm pretty sure I've seen like the poster for that a bunch, but I've never actually seen the movie.
Every time I walked past that Blockbuster, I was like, one day.
Then you saw
Like-
The Dentist and ran. The
Who's he
Dentist
getting
2.
revenge on?
What was that?
Who's he getting revenge on?
Geppetto.
Everyone.
Geppetto.
The whale.
Everybody. His donkey friend.
Fuck, I won't talk about this movie. So, Witchboard was directed and written by Kevin Tenahy, who, as stated previously, did Night of the Demons and Pinocchio's Revenge. It stars Todd Allen as Jim, Tawny Katane as Linda, and Stephen Nichols as Brandon, and for the first time in like 10 episodes, we have a Seinfeld connection with Tawny Katane, who played Isabel in the Nose Job episode. Also, our first Whitesnake connection.
Hopefully our only White Snake connection.
That's my new mission.
It's gonna find,
Find a White Snake movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
and another movie with Tawny Katane in it, probably. Just being a super good actor. Oh, I don't even know how to talk about the first hour of this movie. It's essentially just Tawny Katane fucking around with a witchboard.
I really dug the first like 15 minutes or whatever where they're at the party
God.
and Brandon's playing like Mr. Cool Guy with the Ouija board, like freaking everyone out.
Everybody knows the cool guy at the party is the guy with a Ouija board.
I mean, yeah.
Like, it's what overtook like the dude with a fucking acoustic guitar.
All right, everyone, gather round.
That's also like Jim and Brandon are like the most deadpan actors of all time. Like they have no real emotion ever in any of the dialogue given in this movie until like maybe the very end. So like the entire time they're fighting in this house party scene, it's just like, well, you're a dick. Well, I don't know. I only like you because of this. It's just that's the entire way they talk throughout the like first hour of this fucking movie.
Yeah, they're just trying to like out cool guy each other.
Just
What
shouldn't
I
be
think
that
is
hard
really amazing-
because Jim is friends with Lloyd, who seems like the coolest guy on earth.
Lloyd is the best, and it made me so sad that he died. Cause like when when he first shows up, they're in the kitchen, like drinking Jack Daniels or something, and Jim's like, "Hey man, why didn't you come out there and save me?" And Lloyd's like, "Priorities, man. Jack first, hello second." And I was like, "Yeah, my man."
What were you gonna say, Kit?
It's amazing that for the three like main actors in the movie, like their range is just that monotone or screaming.
Oh my god.
Like there's no slow escalation. It's either we're talking like this or ah! Like nothing in between.
Also, it should be said that out of these three main people, Tawny Kitaen is the best actor in this movie.
Easily.
So,
She's not even like super great until
at all.
I thought she did pretty good at the end though.
When they just dub over her voice through all of it.
When she's like technically not a person, yeah.
When she has the suit on.
Yeah.
It was all
Yeah.
My third note is I hate this fucking movie so much.
I thought it was fine. Controversial opinion.
I was just fucking
No, I thought it was
so
fine
bored.
too. I just thought it was like, yeah, sort of boring, and I thought,
See, like 35 minutes, 40, I was like, all right, this is interesting. Like, I really am curious to see where this goes. And then the next like 40 minutes just dragged.
yeah, I like was watching it, and then I like texted him. I was like, I can't believe like when they decide to do, I think the medium at that point or whatever. I was like, oh my god, it has only been 40 minutes.
The best scene of all time.
After the medium is when I was like, okay, this is killing me now.
Zarabeth with a Z is the saving grace of this movie.
I literally wrote, "We stand Zarabeth. She was the best."
She's like Chop Top from
yes,
Texas Chainsaw 2, but like Valley Girled way the hell up.
Well, my favorite thing about it is that like they don't really say that they're in California. I read in the notes that they are in like Northern California because they recorded it like when they go to the woods or whatever.
Well, yeah,
that's like around San Francisco.
They also say they go to Big Bear, which is in California.
That's what I was just saying, yeah,
No.
the woods. But before she shows up, they're like, she's the best medium in Northern California, and then she shows up and she's just like this ridiculous character, and I'm like, okay.
She's like fucking Hollywood and Mannequin. Like, have either of you seen Mannequin?
Mm-mm.
God
No.
damn it. Before the podcast is over. Kit would fucking love Mannequin. Because it's like...
I've like heard of it, but I don't know that I've ever seen, like, I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to actually watch it.
It's extremely stupid 80s comedy movie, but it rules.
The posters got me on board.
Please look up the actor, like his character's name is Hollywood. Look up the picture of him as Hollywood from Mannequin. Because...
Oh my god.
it's pretty much exactly like he... Like,
I love him.
his character is like Zarabeth in this,
Holy
except he's
shit.
throughout the entire movie.
Okay.
Those sunglasses might like take my Pit Viper spot.
Oh, if I could find those glasses, I would wear them right now, all the time.
Oh, and it has the guy from Pretty in Pink in it too.
Yeah, and it's got fucking Samantha from Sex and the City as the mannequin.
Oh my gosh.
Then they did like a sequel that like the only person that returned was Hollywood. Yeah, so this movie
Gotta talk about it, Nathan.
basically starts out with Brandon talking about how he just talks to a dead child throughout all of his spare time.
This like
Okay.
opening was so weird to me because did they say he's like a lawyer or something?
If they did, I missed it.
So when they first opened, it's like this, I wrote frat house, which I guess it's just like a regular apartment building, and they're having a party, but I had a hard time figuring out like how old these people were supposed to be. They're in college, but some of them are like obviously 40 and don't really like fit in with like Brandon, they're like having a conversation about like the existence of God and like how life was made and stuff, and I was like, what kind of party is this?
Like
The best kind.
every 80s thing suffers from just like the fashion or whatever at the time, because it has like the Saved by the Bell effect where everybody is probably really like age appropriate, but they all look 40.
Yeah.
Like Brandon
I don't know.
especially looks like he's at least 50, but he's probably like 28. Yeah, like really all you get out of this scene is you find out that Jim is dating Linda, Brandon used to or wanted to date Linda, and Brandon does not like Jim because of this, and vice versa.
Jim's also kind of like a dickhead.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
well, maybe they both are, but Jim has like all of his like I think was supposed to probably be like a jokester in this movie, but his deadpan delivery just makes him seem like a fucking asshole.
yeah.
Because like he's got all of these lines that he then has to like make sure to reference that it's a joke. But like I don't know, all of his delivery just makes it seem like he's just like a dick. Eventually, Brandon pulls out this fucking board, and him and Linda contact this dead child that Brandon talks about talking to all the time, which is not weird at all. I don't know, like
Normal.
I don't know why
Totally
this person
fine.
has friends after that. Eventually, Jim says something that upsets David, who is the ghost dead child that they are talking to, and David flips the fucking board off of their legs and then blows one of the tires on Brandon's car. It's I don't know why, but
It's really rude.
yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
those were brand new tires.
Lloyd's like, oh, dude, multiple sadness.
Oh, I'm so mad that Lloyd dies and like immediately. You get like a scene of Linda being mad at Jim for ruining the party. Which is pretty much all she does for the rest of the movie is either playing with this fucking board or is just mad at Jim. You see Jim working at a construction site that he works on. He's hanging out with Lloyd and they're fucking having a break, talking about some shit I don't remember. When Jim gets up and Lloyd's just like, I'm gonna have a fucking nap. And just like lays down on this fucking pile of wood they're sitting on, and then a bunch of sheetrock falls on him. Which was actually kind of cool.
It was. The thing that was confusing to me about this is that before that, Jim is like, oh, I can't find my hammer. So this movie does this thing where they like do jump scares, but it's like not actually anything scary. It's just like Jim continues to scare people, like pop up and scare people the whole time. And so Jim's like, oh, I lost my hammer. And then Lloyd like throws a hatchet at him. And he's like, oh, here you go. You could use mine. And I'm like, that's literally a hatchet, not a hammer. But they don't like, for some reason, they're pretending like it's the same thing. And he's like, okay, cool. And then you see his hatchet like up where the drywall is. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
Well, he has...
Which
like,
comes back later, but...
Jim has a hatchet that has like a hammer on the end of it.
Yeah, that seems really dangerous.
Yeah, you would think so, but there was no safety protocol in the 80s. I just like that Lloyd is the type of friend that's just like, oh, here, you need this? And just tosses a fucking, like...
I'm gonna hurl a weapon at you.
He like tomahawks it at him.
It's like, hey, do you have any bullets? Like, yeah, bang, 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 bang. And just, like, shoots them at you. Like, Lloyd, you're killing it in this movie.
May you rest in peace.
R.I.P. Gone too soon. See you at the crossroads.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so Lloyd gets crushed by a bunch of sheetrock that you find out was cut by a hatchet that apparently they think David did. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. This fucking... The twist in
but
this movie of it not being David at the end makes it like impossible to figure out how to talk about any of my notes. What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
oh, I was getting my places confused. So never mind.
All right.
See my spot in the movie mixed
Okay.
up.
So what I think they were trying to do in the beginning was like obviously lead you to think it's David, because every time Linda is like messing around with the Ouija board by herself, which by the way, if you're a person who thinks Ouija boards work, like you can't do it by yourself. That's you know, that's not. Anyways, every time she like contacts him, somebody dies like at the same time. Like she's okay, and you left out. So Linda at this point is like checking the messages. And Brandon's like, hey, Linda, I left my Ouija board there for some reason. And he's like, bring it to school on Friday because I want to use it. And so she decides that she's going to like contact David. And like the weirdest like subplot of this movie is that for some reason, Brandon asks David if he is going to be reborn, if he could pick who his parents are.
Oh, yeah.
Which like, I'm not sure why. So then you get the idea that Linda is pregnant. Right. And so she's like asking him, David, like, hey, David, are you there? And then says, can you pick your parents? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, do you want to pick me? And David's like, no, I hate Jim or whatever. But then David like leaves. That's when Lloyd dies. And then David comes back or whatever. So they do that. Like, I think that's how. But I don't understand, like, at the end, the point of him leaving and stuff. Like, I get they're trying to make us think that it's David. But like, what's the point of it if it's not?
Well, like, my understanding was that it was this fucking axe murderer dude pretending to be David.
Right, but then it's like David's a separate thing, so that's why it doesn't make sense to me.
It's all stupid. This movie's stupid. I hate it. I just like the line, can you please bring my Ouija board back to school? Like, by a dude who looks like he's 50.
He really loves that Ouija board, man.
Fuck, let's see. I can't figure out where my fucking notes are at now.
Lloyd.
Jim and Brandon are best
next is
friends
the
as
funeral,
kids. Right? Yeah, but hold
Yeah.
on. I was like, because Katie went over like pretty much everything that was like coming up next. Like, you do get a thing about how Jim and Brandon were like best friends as kids. And let's see, sheetrock falls on Lloyd. R.I.P. Linda. Oh yeah, so Linda.
This is where he gets interrogated by a lieutenant guy.
Before that happens, though, you got Linda talks to David and spells ring. It tells her that her ring fell down the DRAN because ghosts can't spell and are known liars, as stated previously
so weird.
in this movie. And Linda, being a master plumber, is able to shut all of her water off and take these pipes apart to find her ring in this sink drain.
You learn a lot hanging out with Whitesnake, all right?
Yeah. Like, fuck it, what's the singer for Whitesnake's name?
Snake.
Snake
White.
Yeah.
Mr. Snake.
If I somehow ever have a kid, I'm naming it Snake White. That's my promise right now.
Snake White Sizemore is a
Caitlin.
sweet-ass name.
Caitlin's gonna immediately break up with me as she hears this, so...
Edit that chunk out.
Yeah. Jim comes home and is immediately yelled at by Linda and cussed out because he scared her. Tells him not to fucking sneak up on her. And she has morning sickness, and this is supposed to illustrate that she has morning sickness and is irritated, and therefore she is pregnant. Then you get to the Lloyd's funeral with Lieutenant Dewhurst, who is talking about magic for God knows why.
The whole movie. He's like obsessed with music. He's obsessed with magic.
Like, this whole scene, I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Can we talk about, like, what a dick move it is to, like, interrogate someone at a funeral? Like, goddamn, like, wait until they're at least home from the funeral.
Yeah.
Like, they're standing over the grave, like, looking at his corpse.
You're like, hey, did you kill your friend?
Yeah, did you murder him with your axe?
I wonder if that happens, like, in real life, if cops will, like, actually do that.
It happens in a lot of movies. Happened in Swim Fan.
Yeah, like, I guess the idea would be, like, you catch them off guard, so it's going to be harder for them to, like, lie or whatever, but it is just a complete dick move. Your best friend's dead. Did you kill him? Let's
do you
talk
like
about,
magic, son?
Talk about juggling.
Well, the thing that was like really weird to me about this part too is that like not only is he talking about magic, but then this really bothered me because I'm not a detective, but they're somehow like, oh, are you missing a hatchet? Because, oh wait, this is later. Never mind.
Well,
They brought it up.
I'm saying he asked him about like the hatchet. He specifically knows that the ropes were cut with a hatchet somehow.
Okay, but then later, I'm just gonna skip ahead. When Zarabeth is killed, they're like, her throat was slit with the same hatchet. I'm like, I'm sorry. How can you compare cut marks from a rope to like someone's neck? There's no way.
Especially in like 1986. It's like this isn't CSI level nonsense going on. This is just them looking at it and being like, it's probably the same.
Yeah, it was probably this guy. Like, what?
Yeah. For some reason, Lieutenant Dewhurst just talks about magic every time you see him in this movie. And
he was a magician before he was a cop.
I would watch that movie. Or just him becoming like a weird magician cop.
Cop-magician.
How was that not a fucking movie?
Oh my gosh.
Add that one to the pile.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll write it down.
Yeah, so he basically is convinced that Jim killed Lloyd and is just kind of keeping an eye on him. Linda, again, with the fucking board, asking David if he caused the accident at Jim's work site, and David says no. Brandon calls Jim and is mad that Linda didn't bring him his board to school. He needed something to do on this fucking lunch break. My next note is this movie makes me want to end the podcast.
Is because of what Jim says to her when she says she's pregnant?
Is it you're not going crazy, you're just becoming a mother?
Granted, it's almost the same thing.
Oh.
I was like, excuse me?
I like it. The only quote I have is, "You're not going crazy. You're just becoming a mother."
Yeah, and then he said, "Granted, it's almost the same thing." And then whatever, and then again, we have this like Star Wars moment where she says, "I love you," and he says, "I know."
Ugh.
Like, no. I would have left his ass like right at that moment.
I can't imagine with his demeanor anybody dating him to begin with, but
yeah.
you think they were just like, if you just act like fucking super cool, everyone will just think you're like the Han Solo of this movie, and then just threw that line in there.
I think so.
That'd be fantastic if he was trying to channel Han Solo for fucking Witchboard.
Oh god, I don't want to talk about this fucking stupid movie.
Listen, we're only 40 minutes in at this point, so
Yeah, we're 40 minutes and like literally nothing has happened except Lloyd has died. Linda keeps having these dreams, and this first one is her using the board on a coffin and then just getting choked in like this weird jump scare thing and like coming out of the dream. Linda again talking to her dead child friend David. Fucking says she's gonna give the board back and David says no. She goes into the kitchen and this is when Kit texted me and asked me if the refrigerator threw a knife at her.
maybe the best text I've ever sent.
Is pretty
Did
good.
the refrigerator just throw a knife at Tawny
I
Katane?
woke up from a nap at that text, and I was like, perfect. Yeah, this knife goes flying and hits a fucking ketchup bottle. The knife gets stuck in the ground, and then the ketchup pours all over the knife, so it looks like somebody's been stabbed. And then she's just
Whoa.
locked in the kitchen. It's all pretty stupid.
And then she just starts screaming, and it like pans out, and I'm like, they do that so many times.
Yeah. The next day, or I guess possibly the same day, Brandon shows up at Jim's work site and asks him about Linda using the board by herself, and he's worried, and that if, like, signs of, I guess, like, a possession would be being sick, and if she's swearing a lot and is, like, irritated and having nightmares and whatever. I think he calls it progressive entrapment.
Yes, this is the first of many times that we hear this phrase.
My
Well, so
upcoming
apparently
death metal band name.
apparently the writer, like director guy was like really into The Exorcist. So that's where he like got this term from, and he's like very obviously obsessed with it because they say it many times. But I don't think they did it, and so like his whole thing with Linda was that he was trying to show her getting progressively worse. So, you know, like she's just like a normal girl, and then she like paints her nails red and she starts cussing, and that's supposed to be like her getting progressively entrapped. But I mean, obviously they didn't really do that good of a job.
Like, this whole idea could be done well if, like, you had 3 better actors in it. Like, I think that, and you have to cut like 20 minutes out of this fucking movie, but like the 3 of them are just so like unlikable to watch that it just, I don't know, it made this movie that already seemed extremely long seem even longer. Like, I feel like there's a good kind of movie idea in here and like could be done well. Just basically what I'm saying is we need a Witchboard remake.
Do it.
With Edward Furlong and Tara Reid.
Oh gosh.
And
I literally would never ever want to watch another movie with Tara Reid in it for the rest of my life.
just Sharknado's all she's probably fucking doing at this point, so
That's fine.
trying to, let's see. So Edward Furlong obviously has to be Jim, and Tara Reid has to be Brandon.
I was gonna say Malfator. Whatever.
Oh shit, that'd be fucking amazing. Tara Reid is Zarabeth. Just because I
Yes.
want to see her take
Don't-
on a fucking Valley Girl.
I don't want to ruin Zarabeth though.
So let's see. If Edward Furlong is Jim, who plays Brandon? Malfator is no. So Zarabeth, we're gonna do gender switch, and it's gonna be Crispin Glover.
Oh my
Yes.
god, yes.
Brandon. Let's see. Who would be extremely unlikable to watch? The Situation from the Jersey Shore. I think we got a movie here. I'm gonna
Absolutely, we do.
pitch this.
I'd watch this film.
Pitch it to sci-fi. My goal in life now is just to get us to make a sci-fi movie. Sci-fi.
One of
horror
these is
movie.
gonna get made.
Let's see. So Brandon tells Jim that he's gonna bring a medium over to exorcise the house. Some dude on the work site interrupts and tells Jim he's got a call, and it's his landlady, and has like Linda's there. She's all freaked out. I'm guessing the landlady heard her just screaming and saw or a fucking knife covered ketchup. Linda tells Jim that David attacked her, and you immediately get into Zarabeth, who comes over as the medium and is just wearing the best outfit of all time.
Oh my gosh, her like jean jacket has like these tassels on it, but there's also like Barbie arms and shit hanging from it. It's the best.
Amazing.
It also makes so much noise because it's covered in like fucking buttons and shit.
I literally like one of the things I wrote is whenever she leaves, she literally like like walks through the door and all of her like fringe and stuff hits it and it's so loud. I'm like, she is a mood.
I can't imagine how fucking difficult it was to try and film over, like, but just record sound over that fucking jacket.
Just had to dub the whole scene. Like,
So Zarabeth leads a seance with David, Brandon, and Linda. Not David, Jim. David starts talking through Zarabeth and says that he loves Linda.
it's real weird.
Yeah, this is all extremely weird.
Okay, so actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, I think that maybe, like, Brandon was talking to David in the beginning, and in the very beginning of the movie, it was David, but then from that point on, it wasn't at all, at any point.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be that once she starts talking by
Yeah,
herself,
it's
it's Malfator.
The other, yeah.
Okay.
Which is a extremely weird name for just a dude that was an axe murderer.
His name is, like, Carlos.
Yeah, his
Malfator.
name was definitely fucking, like...
They say Portuguese.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a very tall white man that just kind of looks like fucking Angus Scribb from Phantasm, so... So... They do this seance. Zarabeth
Oh my gosh.
leaves and says TTFN, which Brandon then has to explain to Jim is Tata for now, which is the best line of the movie.
I did not realize that phrase was that old.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably early 80s, if not maybe before. I feel like it wasn't at least, like, real popular until...
The 1860s.
Yes, the 1880s.
You guys, I just found... Okay. Side note, the guy who plays Malfator is also in another movie called Witch Trap, it's made by the same director of Witchboard. But it's, like, not connected, but the tagline is "This time it's not a game." Like, what?
I never want to watch that movie. Although I kind of want to watch it just to see how this dude acts, like, if he gets, like, a bunch of screen time as opposed to just getting flashes of him.
It's gonna be exactly the same.
I think so.
It'd be amazing if he was just playing it's just like a backstory of his character.
I mean, the poster, like, literally looks like the same thing.
The Witchboard was the witch trap the whole time.
Oh. Spoilers. Yeah, so Brandon and Zarabeth are driving home, and she just says, Malfator. And, like, Brandon's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, I don't know, like, I heard that during the seance. I'm gonna go home and do some research. So she's at her house doing research, trying to figure out what Malfator is, and something attacks her and chases her through the house and pushes her out of a window onto a sundial. Which is pretty fucking cool.
What a whip ass way to die.
That's pretty awesome.
Please toss my body onto a sundial.
Okay, so yeah, this is the part where they were like, but also, so he like slashes her throat and then she falls out the window and then she falls onto the sundial. I was like, man, overkill much.
They don't show her throat get slit, do they?
Well, they show like, they do this thing in the movie that's like POV. Well, you think it's David, it's not. And it shows, they kind of like allude to the fact that there's like a slash or something like that. And
It's
then
like a swipe at her, but
yeah.
I might have missed that while I was taking notes. Because that's like when it comes up later, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So now the two only good characters in this movie are dead. I guess we still have
Literally,
Dewhurst,
yes.
but
No, he sucks.
yeah, he's a cop. I don't care. Just like every time he shows up, he's just talking about fucking anything but cop work.
Yeah.
So Brandon comes over and like tells Jim about Zarabeth dying, and that Linda had switched out his board with a fucking chalkboard. that had, I think, groceries listed on it or some shit.
Yeah.
And that he's gonna drive up to Big Bear to research David's backstory to figure out what's really going on, because that seems necessary. The idea that he even knows enough about David to go to Big Bear because that's where he died is ridiculous to me.
Well, and it's really stupid too, because in the beginning they're like, "Oh, how come you can talk to David multiple times or whatever?" And he was like, "Well, he's connected to the board because the board was made the same day that David died." And I was like, "How? What?"
That'd be amazing if, like, the resurrection stuff was true and David was just this board. He just resurrected into, like, a Ouija board. I also like that you see Dewhurst sitting outside spying on them, just eating a fucking shit ton of oranges.
Yeah.
Which comes back later in, like, the hospital waiting room when he's just juggling the ones he has left. So Linda is again attacked by quote-unquote David, taken to the hospital, and Dewhurst is there juggling oranges, talking about magic, questioning Jim at the same time. Jim decides to go with Brandon to Big Bear, and they basically just decide that David's story checks out for some reason because they looked at a fucking tombstone.
They found his obituary at the library.
Fucking, this is
Didn't,
so stupid.
Didn't they also find out that Linda isn't pregnant
Yeah.
Yeah.
before heading up there?
Oh, do they?
Dun dun.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
yeah. I guess he probably.
when she
Because that's why he decides to join him going up there, or at least it's after that.
yeah.
I'm not gonna
Big
lie.
twist.
I watched this movie like maybe 4 hours ago and just forgot all of it. So, yeah, they fucking do some research on David for some reason. Go look at microfiche at the library and shit. And there's something too about like David's parents' tombstones or some shit that I don't remember.
Yeah, like they died the same day that he did or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because they wanted to ask David's parents like what happened, and it's like, well, it turns out they're also dead, and they died the same day. A lot of really like not impactful
Yeah, like-
reveals in this film.
Not at all.
Right, like for what purpose? Why do we care about that? Oh, I guess just because now they can't ask what happened, but like who cares?
So do they say at any point like how David died? I know they go to like that like little spot on the lake that I just assume he drowns, but I don't.
I thought it was like a boat fire or something.
That's I guess cooler than him just drowning, but I just don't remember them ever saying it. And especially like if there was a boat fire, was it just like on this fucking dock that is literally like 2 feet deep?
Yeah, I mean, he was either on the boat and drowned, or there was a boat fire or something. But it was like at that lake where he died, so that's why they're there.
This is stupid.
It sucked out. Doc. Like,
Yeah, you're not even
for a turn. Just the
Your
dock, bro. That's all you got.
Your spirit just rests in those fucking hanging out with those barrels that fall over later.
See all the other cool ghosts that like died on the lake, like zooming around.
Feel
You're
like
sitting there on the dock.
You're like a 10-year-old kid, and you're just like, fucking kids that died at amusement parks don't know how lucky they are. I just get to sit and look at this fucking gross mossy water.
The crabs all goddamn day.
So you get a scene of Brandon and David making up.
And then they make
I was
out.
literally my next note was, I wish they would have fucked to make this movie better.
Oh my god! I just wrote that the scene goes on for like a pretty long time, and I just wrote "bro moment" because I was like so uninterested in anything that they were saying.
That's dumb. They had to make up just just to try and make what happens next more like impactful, I think.
Yeah.
You get a quick thing of Linda waking up at the hospital and hears someone calling her name, and she goes following it and gets her head fucking punched off like fucking Jason Takes Manhattan, but it's all a dream. Brandon goes to what looks like a backroads gas station and picks up a new Ouija board because they were everywhere
They're so
in the 80s.
accessible. Yeah.
They go to David's death site to contact him, which is literally just this fucking weird 10-foot long dock on a fucking lake. Brandon says something about like Linda can't be contacted by whatever's attacking her because she's supposed to be under sedation, but you see her check herself out of the hospital. So bad things
So much
coming
for that.
ahead. They ask David a bunch of questions. David says he's not the one like terrorizing Linda, and they ask who it is, and he spells it evil. They ask us something about Malfator and how it's behind all of this, and David spells her, which I guess I get that her is supposed to be Linda. So like at this point, I guess Malfator has taken over Linda? Question mark.
I think
No.
it's after that, because they ask him if he misspelled the word, and he said yes,
Yeah, because he like
and then they
freaks
spell
out.
out here, because I ask what is Malfator.
Oh, that's
or-
right. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
it's like, it says here.
And then all those barrels
and then-
fucking knock the shit out of everybody.
Like, that could have been really cool, except it's like, no, it's like, here's some barrels, man. They're like plastic. Like, little plastic barrels aren't going to take me down. Get the fuck out of here.
Those barrels all looked extremely empty, and somehow managed to just fucking beat the shit out of both of them. Like, it knocks Brandon into the water, and just knocks Jim unconscious for like 6 hours.
Long enough for Brandon to get stabbed in the face.
Yeah, with a hatchet.
With the hatchet, yeah.
So eventually Jim comes to and uses gross lake water to clean the cut on his head. So he
Yeah.
100% died after
He's
this
dead.
movie.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No wonder.
He somehow finds Brandon's body, has floated up to him and reached out to him.
Yeah, so Brandon like grabs him, but then is dead, and I was like, how does that happen?
Yeah, it was all real confusing.
But then he like very obviously, this is like one of the only, well no, they showed the deaths, but he gets like hatcheted right in the forehead. But then when Jim like pulls his body up, he's got like a laceration across his entire face. I was like, okay.
It's pretty gross and stupid. All of it. Once he cleaned his head with the fucking lake water, I was out. I was completely out. I like that. So, like, Brandon had to have fallen in the water like a good 15 feet away, and then managed to have his body float around where the dock goes out to the side, and then over to where Jim's at.
Well, he like got out of the water and then gets hatcheted. So
Yeah, but then he falls back into the water, like on that other side of that little like side dock thing.
I mean, either way, it doesn't make sense. He should be dead. He's dead. I don't know.
This movie would have been amazing if all of a sudden it was like American Werewolf in London, where it's just like a dead guy hanging out with him. Like, it's just
If Brandon died way earlier in the movie,
oh yes, it was
and it's
just
just
like
him and Brandon,
broing
dead
out.
Brandon. Yeah.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's with the Witchboard.
This is just the Witchboard walking around because it is David reincarnated. So Linda.
Oh, you forgot. So Jim finally has some emotions, and he starts crying.
Yeah, I forgot for a reason. Linda's at home and something is watching her through the window. And, of course, she uses the board again, but the planchette for some reason is upside down. I'm not sure if that was a goof or if there was a reason behind it, but it drove me crazy.
It probably was a goof because, like, I've drawn planchettes a lot of times and I draw them upside down, like, constantly by accident.
They show it for so long that I can't fathom somebody wasn't like, why is this upside down?
Well, they didn't.
It bothers me.
My favorite part about this scene is that she's like trying to talk to David and then David doesn't answer, so of course she's like, well, I guess I better go take a shower.
So Jim goes to a psychic, I guess, and is asking about Malfator, which apparently all psychics know and have a book about. And it is discovered that he was like an axe murderer. And Jim calls the hospital to warn Linda and is told she checked out. And he goes hauling ass down these back roads at like 110 miles an hour to get home. Linda is taking a shower and gets locked in. It's like scalding hot water. I am amazed they waited an hour and 26 minutes to show her boobs in this movie.
Well, I was kind of confused because when I was like reading the wiki for it, there was like a part about how she was like uneasy with them filming her in the shower, but then saw that the cameraman or the director or somebody had like a wedding ring on, and so I thought maybe that meant like yeah, I thought maybe that meant that like she didn't want to be like actually naked and she was worried they would show her, but like that's obviously not what happened, so
I think she was just concerned with like fucking.
Did you write this movie to see me naked? No? Okay, I'll be naked then.
I just like the idea that like, well, he's got a wedding ring, so he's good.
Yeah, he's not a pervert.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Totally fine.
Jim arrives home after Linda has like wrapped a towel around her hand and punched her way out of the shower. The like something happens like where she gets like fully possessed, I guess, in between. And Jim arrives home and the place is just completely wrecked, and he is immediately attacked by Linda, who I guess being possessed has now got Malfator's clothing on.
Yeah,
possessed
that
enough
was
to have a suit.
That's right, and her like hat, her like boulder hat thing.
None of these are clothes
And she put on makeup.
I imagine anyone in this movie actually owned except for Malfator. Yeah, she does.
Malfator also wore eyeliner.
It's like the only time you see her with makeup on is this point. So yeah,
It's fully possessed. She put on some lipstick.
Linda is attacking Jim. Jim is eventually like knocked over and being choked out, and he tells Linda that he loves her, and it almost breaks her out of this spell. And he grabs like a fucking letter opener, and Malfator is basically like, that's not gonna work, you know, blah blah blah. He ends up having to stab her in the side to get her off him. Right after he does this, Dewhurst like fucking shows up with a group of everybody that lives in this apartment building.
Yeah, I'm like, they didn't hear the apartment getting completely trashed, but they can hear them like wrestling.
Enough that she was literally had to have been like axing the walls because they're just slash marks everywhere.
They're slashed and like all the furniture is completely destroyed.
So Dewhurst obviously thinks Jim is attacking Linda. Linda punches Dewhurst into next week. Just fucking knocks his ass into fucking everything, and he just drops his gun. Malfator, as Linda, starts telling Jim that like even if he like kills Linda, it won't matter because Jim is the portal. The only
What a
way
plot twist.
the only way he can save like all of his loved ones is he has to kill himself. So Jim grabs Dewhurst's gun and like points it at his head, and you cut away for a second and you hear the gunfire, and then you like cuts back and you see Jim is shooting the Ouija board.
Whoa.
Which
And it's like twirling in the air.
it twirls at the camera, and the hole in the Ouija board goes through the camera lens. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Until what happens after that.
I still hold that this is more ridiculous by like a logical standard, but the fucking effect on what happens next is worse. So Jim shoots the board like 50 times, and of like something, it's like I guess shooting the board starts to like make Malfator like unpossess Linda, and as this is happening, he pushes Jim out the window in a straight up like the Die Hard scene where fucking what's his name is falling from the
Hans.
building, but like way worse.
Because he's obviously just like standing up normal and then like flailing his arms a little bit.
I wish they had done like a RoboCop.
RoboCop was the
where
one I was
it's like,
the arms are like 8 feet long.
yeah, just like a weird like claymation doll with really long
God
arms.
damn, RoboCop is so good. So Jim falls out this window that I can only assume is on the second story, but falls for about 800 feet onto the top of a car.
And like the angle that they shot, like obviously they just like put the camera out a window or whatever. The angle that they shot it is like does not even match up with the way that he's falling. He also doesn't really look that concerned.
I mean, he's got the same acting as like the rest of the movie, where he's just kind of like, no.
Dang.
So the next thing, like, it goes to black and it fades up into a group of people at a church that you think is a funeral for Jim, and it isn't. He is getting married to Linda with a neck brace on.
He's wearing a neck brace that looks so ridiculous.
Dedication.
You then see an old lady and what I guess is a daughter or somebody.
Yeah, it's the landlady.
Like, they find the board as they're cleaning up this room, and they question whether it still works, and they throw it in the trash, and the planchette moves to yes.
So I thought that's what was going to happen, but then they showed the yes so long that I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not. But then it did happen.
Now,
like, oh, you got me.
Oh yeah, like it zooms in on the yes for like a solid 30 seconds, and then the planchette just like zooms up from the bottom. I hated this, but I also want to see the sequels now.
And
Absolutely
witchcraft.
watching.
I feel like it just seemed so much longer to me because I was taking notes. Like, I feel like if I was just watching this and not having to totally pay attention, it would be much more palatable. But having to pay attention to this nonsense was killing me.
This is one of the first movies where I knew everyone's name.
Because there's 3 characters.
Yes.
Right.
I guess 4 if you count David.
And Malfator.
Yeah, they're the same person. It
There needs to be a bunch of really generic names and then one ridiculous name like Malfator.
I think
And I'm gold.
the sequel is actually you find out that Malfator and David are the same person. That David was a 10-year-old axe murderer.
And that's like
He had a
Karen's
growth spurt
side.
real early.
Yeah. He's got fucking Benjamin Button disease. So he's just reverse aging. This movie was dumb. What was the next probably terrible movie you picked, Katie?
Eloise.
Alright, you said that's on Prime too, right?
I'm pretty sure.
I know nothing about this film, but I feel like it's going to make everyone wish we had done Witchboard too.
I think so. It has a lower rating than Witchboard, Oh wait. Yeah. Oh yeah, it does.
I don't even pay attention to ratings because the people that rate some of these movies are dumb as shit.
I mean, that's true.
Like, the fact that Muckman has a higher rating than Jason X still infuriates me. Jason X is a perfect movie.
What, this film has Eliza Dushku and Robert Patrick?
Yes.
I remember her saying last week that it had Eliza Dushku. Robert Patrick gives me some faith that this movie might be good. Then again, John Carpenter directed The Ward, so, you know.
That movie, I saw it when it came out. It's so bad.
The Ward?
Yeah.
It is terrible. I want to do it on this podcast, but I also never want to watch it again.
I don't want to watch it either.
Yeah. So, Eloise will be next week. I have no idea what it's about. But I'm assuming Robert Patrick is playing T-1000 in it, so I'm sold.
God, I wish.
That'd be
Please.
fucking amazing.
There's a shared universe with Terminator.
Oh, more movies should do that, but just never call attention to it. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't asked in a while. Kit, you got anything you want to kind of shout out or something good you watched or whatever lately?
I watched Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Oh yes,
Last
I want to watch that.
Just dropped on Shudder. It was really good.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, it's a very good Del Toro-esque fairy tale movie.
That's I think that's what I plan on watching on Friday when I'm off work. It's just I've been waiting for it to hit Shudder, and I just haven't had the time to actually sit down and watch it now that it has. Because I watch fucking Witchboard. I don't know. What about you, Katie? You got anything?
I don't really have anything. I have news, but I don't have anything that I've been into. I was out of town last week, so I didn't really get to do anything. Except I read... I know the episode just came out, but I said I would have that new Stephen King book finished, and I'm only halfway.
So is your news that they already fucking greenlit a movie of it?
No.
That was just fucking the day after it came out. They were like, "We're making a movie on this," and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Oh really? No, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, the Institution or whatever.
The Institute, yeah. I like it so far, but it's not. So it's different than most of his other books, but it's not really a new concept so far. And I feel like some movies that are kind of similar have come out recently, so I'm not really sure what they're gonna. Not sure why they're doing it, but maybe the ending will surprise me. I'm not sure.
You'll be surprised if it's good.
Wow. No.
What was your news then?
I'm gonna start calling this Katie's News Corner that no one will care about, because I feel like I always share stuff that's really specific to me. But there's this game that came out in 2010 that was called Deadly Premonition that I'm obsessed with. And it's got a lot of influence from Twin Peaks. So maybe people who like Twin Peaks will like it. But it originally came out for 360 and PS3, and it's a horror survival game. But it's also a third-person shooter, but it's also a detective story, so it's really good. But they're actually making a sequel to it, which really shocked me, because I thought it was one of those one-offs, because a lot of people haven't heard from it of it. So it's supposed to come out next year. I think it's only coming out for the Switch though, which is fine for me because I have a Switch. But they actually just re-released the first one on the Switch that they ported. It was called Deadly Premonition Origins, so I'm really excited. So if you like horror survival and Twin Peaks and stuff, I suggest going back to play the first game, because you definitely can finish it. It's not super long. And then my other news is actually Casey from Worst Horror Podcast shared it, and it's I'm not a really big fan of BuzzFeed at all, but for some reason I'm obsessed with BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural. And I think the last episode, the last season aired last year or something, so I didn't think it was a thing they would ever do. But they're doing a new season, and it comes out as we're recording this Friday, so on the 20th. So by the time that this episode comes out, it'll already be out, and I'm really, really excited.
Oh, nice. I've heard good things about that series, but I don't know. I had like binged all of And That's Why We Drink at one point, and I was just like, I need to not listen to true crime for a long time at this point.
Well, so they have the BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, specifically like ghost stuff. So, you know, you have like the two dynamics, like the one guy, host Ryan, is like super willing to believe in stuff and like the evidence, and then Shane obviously like doesn't care. He's the one, they have a clip from it, which I didn't realize it was from the show, that's like my favorite, where he's like, it's, hey demon, it's me, yo boy, like that's what that came from. So they do different things. They do some hauntings, they do some
Wait, that
like
meme that meme isn't from Ghost Adventures?
No,
oh my god,
it's
that's
from
what I thought it was
this
from.
show. I thought it was for the longest time because I haven't seen a lot of Ghost Adventures,
You don't need to.
but I did decide I was going to be Zach Baggins for Halloween, so I guess I need to catch up on it. But no, so yeah, I super recommend it. Super easy to binge.
I'm telling you right now, if you're not dressed up as Zach Baggins at your wedding, I'm leaving.
Maybe you should cancel your ticket then, because
I can't. It's cancelable or whatever.
well then I guess you have to show up as Zach Baggins.
Well, I just said I would leave your wedding. I didn't say I would leave California.
So that's my news.
I'm going to say watch The Fanatic. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to because it's now on Prime, and I'm sure it's amazing. And if it is, we're watching it for this podcast.
Fuck.
Oh, you know you want to fucking watch it.
That doesn't fill me with any less dread.
I just need fucking...
I've never heard of
It's
it.
the fucking John Travolta starring Fred Durst directed movie. So that's pretty much all you need to know about it. I just need the fucking...
And John Travolta's haircut.
Oh man, it's so good. I need the Danzig movie to come to something immediately. It is killing me. I need to see that movie so bad. Well, go ahead.
Crazy. I was just looking at Fanatic.
Oh.
It looks crazy.
Look at John Travolta's hair and tell me you don't want to watch that movie based on that alone. Like, I don't...
Oh my.
I feel like that has to have been a John Travolta decision. But either way, it's pretty fucking great. Yeah, so next week, Eloise.
Sorry, I just saw him in this movie. What the heck?
It's so good, isn't it?
I don't even...
It's on Prime to, like, rent right now, and I think I'm going to end up breaking down and renting it, because I want to see it. I've seen nothing but bad reviews for it. Follow us on Twitter at IOBSuffer and Instagram at IOBSuffer Podcast. Go listen to Riff Raff, because Pat always gives us shout outs and I always forget. Pat's always like real good about asking about it, and I'm like, I need to do that, and then but I always end up listening to it like 3 days before we record or some shit, and I forget by the time we do.
Fair.
Riff Raff is Kit's podcast about death metal and black metal and shit. They play
And Mortal Kombat.
mostly Mortal Kombat and Saint Anger. How Pat hates Kevin Bacon. Goddamn not American.
It's pretty...
I don't know, Katie, you need something to plug.
Worst horror podcast, go listen to it. It's the best. You know what? They just released an episode on Mandy, and I really want to listen to it, but I haven't seen Mandy yet, so I'm like in a dilemma right now.
Really, like, I feel like Mandy isn't like a movie that is a spoiler affected movie, I don't think. Like, really, it's just like something happens and it's just Nick Cage killing people, which is pretty much all you need to know. Mostly Mandy is like something you just need to watch for the visuals of the movie.
Okay.
Their Mandy episode's real good. And
Okay.
they they asked us in the episode to do a double header of Creep and Creep 2, but I was like, I don't know if we have time for that right now. So coming up, I think for Halloween, we're working on doing a Nick Cage double header with them. So
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited.
I can't fucking wait. I'll talk about Nick Cage all day. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else. Follow Katie on Instagram and buy artwork from her at Werewolf Face. That's what she could plug.
Thank you.
I also may have a second podcast out by the time this drops, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to get it done or not. But,
Well, now you have to because you're
Jeez.
teasing everybody.
I'm going to try and like get it all set up and at least drop the first episode tomorrow. But my girlfriend Caitlin and I started a podcast about VH1's reality shows called Let Me Be Your Pot of Love. And it's
Wow.
we've recorded like 3 episodes just in like some spare time we've had to just kind of like have some stuff banked. I just have not had time to actually set anything up, but it's gonna be good.
Well, you have a week.
Tiffany Pollard, you need to get out there, be on our podcast, and say amazing things to us. And also Brett Michaels. If Brett Michaels comes on, Kit will be on that episode.
Yes.
And we're
Obvious.
just gonna sing the fucking theme song to him. Have you ever looked at the lyrics of that song?
Not any that aren't featured on the episode.
You should. It's gross.
I assumed.
There's something about like having a rope inside you or some shit. It's fucking real weird.
The fuck?
It's not fun. When like touch my backstage pass and ride my limousine are the fucking best lyrics in your song, you know you've got trouble ahead.
That just sounds terrible.
It's so good.
I look forward to listening to it and having no idea what you guys were talking about.
It's pretty much just us talking about how Flavor Flav is a fucking creep for an hour and a half every episode.
I do at least know who Flava Flav is, so.
Well, not enough because it's Flavor Flav. He will get very
Flavor
very
Flav.
mad at you when you say it wrong or spell it wrong.
It's a plot point.
Loses
Show.
his goddamn mind anytime one of the women puts like FLAVA on anything.
Well, he can at me.
It's gross because he's like 60 and the oldest woman that appeared on those shows is like 32 right now or some shit. It's fucking...
That's gross.
Yeah, it's not fun. Alright. I hope you suffer, but why?
But why?